You are listening to Unravel with Natly Denise.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nightly with Natly, a segment of Unravel with Natly Denise. I hope you guys are doing well. Is my mic okay? I forgot to check my mic. I checked my camera, but not my mic. No? Yikes. That was ugly. I was using the other mic. My bad. I think you guys can hear me better. Wow, YouTube didn't notify me, ran into it on accident. Oh, hello, I just began. Maybe that's why. What's up? Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late today. I forgot to eat, and by the time I knew it, I was like, hey, I'm really hungry, and I know that I won't do a good podcast unless I eat. So I ordered ramen with chicken, and yeah, it was delicious. It was so delicious. So I just kind of want to begin my podcast with just some thoughts that I've had. I know that there's been a lot of turmoil within the Patriot community, and I think it's important, especially those that know other people and who have even been implicated in it at some point, and which I have like a month or two ago, which I definitely didn't call for. But I definitely wanted to give you guys some thoughts because number one, it's important, but number two, you know, we're in uncharted territory. So I think that it's warranted to at least just chime in on it. But, recently there's just been a lot of Lynn and Flynn drama, and it is just so exhausting. It's honestly, it's so exhausted by this point. You would think that somebody would own up to, the divisiveness and own up to, causing strife within the community. But unfortunately, I don't think that that is going to happen. So, one thing that came up, and, I basically, as a statement, I just put up the whatever stars on my Telegram account, and many y'all might not agree or whatever. You might be swaying with the other narrative that Flynn man bad now. And here's the thing. We can't be swayed so easily the way we've been swayed. We've been swayed by the media. We've been swayed by influencing and all that. It's like we have to come to a moment where we're actually thinking for ourselves, and I feel like there's certain aspects that I can't really name right now, but there's certain aspects to this whole Flynn beef that I can't really go into. But I know on the back end, there's just a lot of loose basis for this. And, I just know the tactics in which that these digs are being made out of. And so anyway, people didn't like that I put the stars on my Telegram. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing this because I'm doing it more at a statement that, you can't just go and attack people with loose foundations and loose basis and think that, you just own everything. You own the internet, you own the community, all these things. You can't just think like that. So there has to be a certain sect of people that stand up and like, hey, stop with the bullshit. Stop it. Not a lot of us are buying the bullshit. And it's like, you can't just come out and attack people and continuously perpetuate, your ill feelings towards what, and make it out. And believe me, I know something way more that attests to how I feel about this community on the back end. There's a lot of back end drama, a lot of, different people having relations with different people. And here's the thing. It's all stemmed from a lot of that. And a lot of these people are finding an excuse by this whole Flynn thing to deteriorate everybody else who doesn't agree with them. So I wanted to also give you guys a message that, it's this time that we need to stand up for everything, even within our community, even within a Patriot infighting, whatever. Stand up for what's righteous. Right? Don't just let people attack other people and think, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. It's just what it is. People are so afraid to speak up. And that's been the problem this entire way of this conservatism and everything. It's just been the problem because nobody stands up. You see all these Republican, lawmakers and all these things still wearing masks, muzzles. And it's like, you literally, you say something and then on the other end you do another. No, it's time to stand fully 100% on something if you really truly believe in it. So if you believe that you are not wrong and you believe that, people are bullying other people, you stand up. That's how we stand up. It starts with little cases like this, little insignificant fights and feuds where you have to stand up. And so people are like, oh, Nat, don't even insert yourself in the drama. It's like the drama found me somehow, like somehow the drama found me. It's really hard to just turn away when drama just finds people. And imagine the drama finds me, but it has escalated all the way up to the point where it's reached General Flynn. Like, that's how potent and toxic this community is on their bullshit. Like, if they're perpetuating bullshit, and I'm just speaking from my heart here. I'm just speaking on truth. Like, this is how toxic it is. It can reach high-end communities like that, or not necessarily at least high-end, but you know what I mean? Like, it's approached him. So it's like, you can't just sit here and not say anything. Like, what the, like, and here's the thing too, like, where are all the dudes in the community too? Like, that's the thing that I just aggravates the shit out of me. Where are all the dudes in the community? Like, you see everything that pops off. It's always, people who other chicks who have to call out these dudes. It's like, these dudes need to stand up too and stand within the community and say, hey, look, you're not acting like an alpha male. You're acting like a child and an imbecile. Why can't we have that? Like, I'm just so genuinely confused. Isn't this the new revolution? Isn't this the part where we stand? So again, people were saying, nah, don't even insert yourself in the drama, which is, the drama found me, so I don't know how I can escape it. And so my thing is, recently it's starting to produce a lot of things. This whole strife within the Patriot community, you get to see a lot of truth, a lot of true colors, a lot of infighting lore, a lot of hearts. Like, who truly has the heart to do this? Who truly has a heart to stand? Who truly has a heart to save the children? Who truly has a heart? Or is it all for clout? Are we doing this all for clout? I'm pretty sure I got off my ass into the streets, and I'm looking at what's going on with the trafficking world. What are other people doing outside of their couches? Like, and that's the thing. It's so hypocritical. And this just really irks me that people are such hypocrites that they have the platform to talk shit about other patriots and call them this and that when they're not doing anything. They're not out on the streets. They're not advocating for change. They're not advocating for new people in office. They're not advocating for commissioner meetings. They're not advocating for volunteering and anti-trafficking ministries. They're not doing anything. And it's always the haters. These are always the people that the motivational speakers talk about. You've heard Tony Robbins, you heard Gary Vee, like all these people, you've heard them. These are the very haters that they're talking about. They're emulated in themselves. And I don't understand how we go in these cycles and we can't reflect back and just like really go out there and reflect. This is what we're lacking. We're lacking people standing up. So the conflicting thing about this infighting is that there have once been perpetrators that have included me in the drama, and without, asking or warranting for it. And the thing is, people who say, don't insert yourself, don't say anything. What are we doing here? If you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't stand up for what is honest and true, then what are we doing here? Don't insert yourself in drama. Aren't we already living in a novella in 2021 coming closing? Are we already living in the drama? Why not stand up while you're in it? This is uncharted territory. I don't know why I had to do that rant. I just wanted to, I guess, like address, because I am in the Patriot community, and this sucks that people are infighting the way they are. But that's the truth. If you see something and it's dishonest and it's hypocritical, you say something. So anyway, let me get to the news. I just had to rant like that, stand up. And it doesn't mean, you're a doormat, and that just because drama finds you, back the F off, get off of me, get off, just simply stand up. It's, It's been a quite a few weeks, guys. It really has. So let me get to the news now. Let me get to this. Oh, actually, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm not going to do it this way. Stop sharing. Remove. Let me do it this way, the much cooler and sexier way right here. This is better looking, I think. Ooh, I had to. I had to, guys. Like, this has gone on way too long. Too many, like, look, you guys want to hear a little bit more? Here, let me add just a little bit more before I go on. A lot of times, all this drama is started by little 7th grade boys who are in the bodies of 30-year-olds who have very contradictory lifestyles. I'll just put it like that without putting too much information out there. Have very contradictory lifestyles that don't look like what it looks like online. I'll say that. But yet they have the audacity to go after people under commercialism, remaking the markets, remaking products, all these things. They have the audacity to do that, but they feel like they're the gatekeepers in this community. And that ain't gonna fly with me. Y'all can try it. You can try it with me. I've been working for this a long time. Even when I was with the corporate world, I've been working for this a long time. So nobody's gonna come in and tell me, oh, you're a grifter or all these things because I'm simply utilizing commercialism. Like, go kick rocks and go stick your head up your ass somewhere else. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything. In fact, we need more people in the media. We need more people selling merch, selling your own products, starting your own restaurant, starting your own service, whatever it is. We need more people like that because guess what? It's going to take us to take back the market. Nobody's going to come to save us besides Jesus when he decides that he wants to come down, right? So until then, you stand on truth and you build a good, honest living. And if that means that you are entrepreneurial and you feel your heartstrings tugged at making a product, making a website, making a sale, making a show is what I meant. Making a show, making a podcast. If you feel your heartstrings tugging at that, we need all of it. Literally. I feel like I'm on crazy pills. And it's like, people have completely forgotten their values and they have gotten so much into their clout, so much that they have inverted and said, oh no, I'm not in this for clout. But yet they're out chasing clout by trying to drag people in the name of clout. It's insane. And I'm so sick of it. And I'm not going to shut up about it. And I'm not afraid. Like nobody can snatch my wig. Unless I'm doing something bad, like snatch my wig, but I'm not doing anything bad. Anyway, I'm getting too much on a tangent on my rant, but you guys get the picture, and I'm just so sick of it. I'm sick of this community deteriorating itself, dragging itself, people truly chasing clout and not actually uplifting others when we ought to. Anyway, okay, let's get to the news now. All right. First headline of today, Durham investigation. Lawyer for Steele dossier source has potential conflict with the interest from Clinton ties. Well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I think we've known that ever since we kind of drew the lines with Sussman, Clinton, and all these people. The law firm representing the main source of Christopher Steele dossier on former President Donald Trump may have conflict of interest because of its lawyers worked for Hillary Clinton's campaign. Special counsel John Durham, who is probing the FBI's action in launching the Trump-Russia collusion investigation, they raised a potential conflict of interest in a court filing over the weekend. The snag of proceedings further underscores the intertwined worlds of politics and law in Washington, where Mr. Steele's substantiated and later debunked opposition research, Mr. Trump, became the impetus for an FBI probe. Igor Danchenko, a Russian-born researcher who pled not guilty to 5 counts of making false statements to the FBI about the information, he proved Mr. Steele has retained defense lawyers Danny Onorato and Stuart Sears from the firm Schertler and Onorato. Another attorney at the firm has deep ties with Miss Hillary Clinton, 2016 presidential candidate, according to Mr. Durham's court filing. The court could create a potential conflict of interest. Mr. Durham said, asking a federal judge to look into the matter. The interests of the Clinton campaign and the defendant might diverge, Mr. Durham wrote in a filing with the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. For example, the Clinton campaign and the defendant might each have had an incentive to shift blame and or responsibility to the other party for any alleged false information that was contained in the Steele dossier and or provided to the FBI. While Durham did not identify the attorney involved with the Clinton campaign, Justice Department lawyers named him at a court hearing last week. The attorney, Robert Trout, who is not involved in the Danchenko case, helped represent the Clinton campaign. He also presented former Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta during his December 2017 testimony before the House Intelligence Committee. In a second appearance before the same committee in 2017, Mr. Podesta was represented by Mark Elias, who served as the Clinton campaign's top attorney. Mr. Elias, while working for the Clinton campaign, hired Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm that taped Mr. Steele to compile the dossier. A spokesperson for the 𝘱𝘓𝘀 and Honorado did not immediately respond for a request for comment. Mr. Durham said it's possible conflict. It would be waived in court, but he wanted the matter addressed by court. Mr. Danchenko earlier this month replaced his former defense attorney, Mark Schammel. Mr. Schammel is also the lawyer for the computer scientist who is identified as research number one. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, Clinton campaign lawyers bought data, and there was a loose link in this data in which would be then used to propose this whole Russia collusion nonsense, right? So the computer scientist was he's a lawyer for the computer scientist identified as researcher one in Mr. Durham's indictment of Mr. Michael Sussman, a lawyer with ties to the Democrat Party. Mr. Sussman was indicted on a separate case and stands accused of lying to the FBI's general counsel in 2016. He allegedly told the FBI he was not representing a specific client when he met to push now debunked claims between Trump and Russia. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there. If you're listening on podcasts, you might have to rewind that just to understand a few times. But yeah, there's a lot going on with the Durham probe. And a lot of people said that this isn't gonna go anywhere, you know? But it's ongoing. And listen, I think even the move for them to like appoint him as this general counsel within the end time of the President Trump presidency, I think that that's very telling. Because they had to think about it. Okay, that they probably even planned it a long time ago. He was able to be launched into this whole probe untouched and unfired, and yet he's still going. Look, I can attest, like, just by researching something as entangled as Chris Cornell's death or Chester Bennington's death, for instance, it takes a long time, especially if you want to prove concretely that things happened or, tie timelines. These things take a long time, especially if he has I have the wrong logo on here, but especially if he has the right resources to actually get this type of information. This is going to take a while, but it is bearing fruit. Now, people won't agree with how much fruit that it's bearing, but it is. Speaking of Trump, all right. So actually, I'm going to present the bad news before the good. I don't know if it's good news, but it's a start. But anyway, people are pissed at Trump. Like, people all over the internet are pissed at Trump. Because in Dallas, which, by the way, I actually tried to go to I actually went to the Houston Trump, the Bill O'Reilly thing, but the dude was like 2 hours late. And I was like, I'm not, like, listen, great guy, but I am not going to wait another 2 hours, hour and a half for him to arrive here. It was bad weather, I'll give him that, but I was like, I am not going to wait 2 hours. And then I was hungry and I was cranky and it was a Saturday and it was rainy and I could have been like laying down. You know what I mean? Like, so I left early. I know, but there's nothing that I don't think I could like extrapolate from all the other media appearances that he already does. But yeah, I tried to go, but it was just, he was way too late, and I was like, it's too much to wait for. So anyway, former President Donald Trump. So he was in Dallas. So after Houston, he went to Dallas, and he is being ridiculed right now. And I don't agree with this with Trump either. Like I don't know what it is about him pushing the paka, the juice, the poke in the arm. You know what I mean? But he continues to do that. And I understand, like, you know, I still think the things that he did and maybe even still might do, they're still, you know, I don't know, like he still might have a play and stuff, but I don't think that this is a good play. To be honest with you, this isn't a good play. But for that being said, there's a bigger picture, I believe, and unpopular opinion. I understand, but I think still this is not a good look, but I don't know, maybe we'll see one day what this all intends. Dallas crowd heckles Trump when he reveals he's had the cocoa booster. Tells audience you're playing right into their hands when you doubt the poke in the arm. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, sir. No, I disagree. There's just been a lot of athletes, playing their game, and then all of a sudden they fall out. There's been a lot of juvenile 𝘠𝘬𝘃𝐿, that big word, that diagnosis. It's too much. It's too much that the media is not reporting, but it's aggregated pretty corroborative through a corroborative sense. But yeah, he was heckled, which, you know what? I'm going to give you guys my thoughts too, but let's see this. President Trump was heckled in Dallas Sunday for confirming he received the cocoa booster. Trump appeared on stage with ex-Fox News host Bill O'Reilly for the final stop of their history tour. Both the president and I are poked in the arm, O'Reilly said. Did you get the booster? He asked Trump, and Trump said yes, to which O'Reilly replied, I got it too, as the members of the crowd started to yell, no. Trump responding, wagging his head at the section of the crowd. They're a very tiny group over there, the ex-president said, pointing. Trump had encouraged the crowd to take credit for the poke in the arm. You're playing right into their hands when you're sort of like, oh, the poke in the arm, the ex-president said. So many people are furious about this. Okay, so take a listen.
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
don't. That's all right. There's a very tiny group over there.
Yeah, people are not happy. Data shows that the Republicans are much more skeptical of the cocoa. Yeah. I mean, and then they go into like, oh, this data, but people are pissed online. I saw so many people. Y'all let me know in the comments. But I saw so many people go hard on the F Trump today. So many people went hard on the F Trump today. Really, really hard on the F Trump today. Yeah, I mean, you cannot say stuff like that when very clearly there's been a lot of things happening. And I can't say because of the platform that I'm on, but there's been a lot of fallouts. There's been a lot of byproduct symptoms. So we can't deny that. So no. That's not. Oh, baby, what is you doing? What is you doing, Trumps? Yeah, I'm actually interested to see. I think him and Candace Owens have like some sort of interview coming up, and I'm interested to see that because she asked him a lot of these questions like, yo, what's up with this and this and that? Oh, the point that I was going to make. The point that I was going to make is, on the other hand, people have visibly, illustratively pushed back. We're still pushing back. And I know that it's a hard fight, and I know it is, but it goes to show how deeply corrupted our local governments are, the ones that are, requiring this in a local sense. And, they're actually going really hard about it. It exposes them. And it causes us to have a lot more responsibility for our local governments. Now, that's the only thing that I can say that's a positive out of all this, right? Other than that, I understand it's a hard fight, but I do not agree with that at all. All right, so let's move on to a little bit more interesting news. Trump demands China pay $60 trillion in reparations for the cocoa plant apocalypse. Former President Donald Trump said Sunday that China should pay reparations for its role in the 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘢 plant apocalypse. Mr. Trump, a leading figure with the GOP, told Fox News' Maria Bartiromo that the communist regime should be held responsible for its role in helping spread the cocoa. China has to pay. They have to do something, said Mr. Trump. They have to pay reparations, and China doesn't have the money to pay those reparations. The former president argued that if the worldwide damage of the cocoa was properly estimated, China would likely owe upwards of $60 trillion. I believe the worldwide, I'm not just talking about the United States, but worldwide, $60 trillion of damage, said Mr. Trump. Trump doesn't have $60 trillion, but they do have something to make up for what they've done. What they've done to the world is so horrible, the president added. It has been horrible all over the world. But I don't know how. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I just wish that that executive order went into swing. There was an executive order that he put into play about anybody on the U.S. soil that had like anything to do with mobilizing or funding the CCP, military or anything like that, that there would be repercussions. And that's the only way that I could see that these type of reparations would be paid. But unfortunately, that's not the reality that we're living in today, which is really sad. But $60 trillion, imagine that. That's how much damage that has been caused within the world. Businesses, jobs, just so many other resources that we've had to waste for this plant apocalypse. Really sad. All right. I'm not going to go dive too big into this. I just found it very interesting the way the comms are kind of laid out on the whole major. But yeah, President Biden apparently had to give away his dog. I forgot his name, his last dog's name. But the thing is, I don't know, just the way that this is all laid out. This is all laid out. Joe Biden's dog Major has been given away after being ousted from the White House for biting Secret Service agents. President welcomed new German Shepherd pup Commander on Monday and is planning to adopt a cat next month. Like, just look at the way it's emphasized in this headline. It's just very strange the way everything is just kind of like in your face about this. Now, I don't know if you guys know about dog comms, but it's an idea. I'm not saying that this is legitimate of what it is, but dog comms are imagined to be some sort of communications, that the media communicates dog comms to, kind of articulate some other type of message that's more coded. Now, I don't know what this is. I just thought that this, like, you could put this together. I don't know. I just thought that this headline was very, very interesting, but not just the headline. Look at the pictures. Like, I've never seen a White House celebrate this hard for a dog. So you see him, he received his dog. Woohoo, he received his dog. But then look at this. There's like so many little like posters. Welcome home, Commander. Welcome home, Commander. Like, welcome home, Commander. Have you guys ever seen something like this where like they go really hard for a dog like that, so much that they're like communicating in the media? But yeah, as far as any, I don't know, details on this, President Joe Biden welcomed a new puppy in the White House on Monday, German Shepherd named Commander. Welcome to the White House, Commander, the president tweeted along with a photo. Commander is seen with a tennis ball in his mouth. News Commander came after White House officials confirmed Biden's other German Shepherd Major was rehomed with family friends. After consulting with dog trainers, animal behaviorists, veterinarians, the first family has decided it would be safest for Major to live in a quieter environment with family friends, the First Lady spokesman confirmed. I don't know. That might not be nothing, but I just thought the way that the headline was just spelt out just was very strange. But you guys can let me know. You guys can let me know in the comments. Cats are taking over the world. That dog is attacking someone as we speak. They can't find anything else to celebrate. Maybe so. I don't know. I just look at it in a different sense. I just think that sometimes the media has like calm sometimes. And anyway, something more interesting. Woke Chicago DA Kim Foxx deliberately misled the public about her office's handling of the Jussie Smollett case and quickly dismissed it because she didn't want the wrongs of people at the court, news report finds. You guys remember this Jussie Smollett ordeal where everybody was just like outraged because it was like, how could you bail this dude out for creating such a big hoax? You know, how could you dismiss something like this and like play along with something like that? Getting into this, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx repeatedly misled the public about her office's handling of the Jussie Smollett case and was responsible for a major failure of operations in dismissing charges against the Empire actor, a special prosecutor's damning report states. The 68-page confidential report detailing missteps and multiple instances of false statements made by Foxx and her prosecutors in the initial investigation of Smollett was released after a judge ruled on Monday that it should be made public. Some of the office's actions may be violations of legal ethics, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb concluded. He said that Foxx and others in her office did nothing criminal. Really? How about lying? How about, like misappropriating certain details to get him dismissed? Like, this was a big deal. Smollett, 39, was convicted earlier this month of lying to the police in January of 2019 about what he said was a racist, homophobic attack in downtown Chicago. Prosecutors said Smollett, who is black and gay, staged a fake attack involving a noose to get publicity. He is expected to be sentenced next year. The report concludes findings by Webb, who took over the case after Foxx dropped charges against Smollett in March of 2019. Webb was tasked with investigating Foxx's handling of the case and whether Smollett should face charges. The report says that Webb's investigation did not develop evidence that would support any criminal charges against State Attorney Foxx or any individual working in the CCSAO, Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Oh my gosh, please. Like, you're telling me that nothing could be found on Kim Foxx? Nothing? But according to the report, the special prosecutor did develop evidence that establishes substantial abuse of discretion and operational failures by the CCASO in prosecuting and resolving the initial Smollett case. Webb alleged that Foxx and her office made false and or misleading statements to the public regarding the nature and reasons for the dismissal in the initial case, and so it breached her obligations of honesty and transparency. Yeah, we're not surprised. The fact that such significant mischaracterization would be asserted without sufficient vetting, repeated by figureheads, the Cook County State Attorney's Office, and never corrected or clarified, particularly the case of the office knows of, has captured the public attention. It's unacceptable for an office that must be transparent and maintain public confidence, Webb's report states. Webb also found that Foxx improperly changed her public position about the strength of evidence about Smollett. After calling the case against him strong, she wrote in a Chicago Tribune editorial shortly after the charges were dropped that securing a conviction was uncertain, that pivot was false and misleading. Foxx's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the report when the initial findings were released last year. The state's attorney office said that it welcomed Webb's findings and no one on the staff committed a crime and that no undue outside influences affected the prosecutor's decisions, but rejected any characterizations of the abuse of the discretion or false public statements. Guys, get out of here. Like, first of all, it's like step. First of all, like, I don't want to hear it. What are you talking about? Like, you can't find anything that she did nothing criminal? What are you saying right now? She did nothing criminal? Like a misappropriation of justice, maybe? Maybe paving a way for other people to get off of staging things like this. What if it's like, you know, like legitimately dangerous, like misappropriating your powers? That I don't understand. How do you not find nothing on this? You know what I mean? This is honestly, it's a clown show. This entire year has been nothing but a clown show. Interesting. All right, moving on. This is interesting. This is coming from RT. I think this is an opinion piece, but this is interesting. Congress has authorized a $7 billion for the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, the Pentagon's program to confront China. This continues the U.S. flawed practice of throwing money at the military to solve problems created by bad policy. Congress has authorized $7 billion. They just repeated that. The 2022 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, passed by Congress, authorizes $768 billion to be spent on various defense-related activities in the coming year. This is a $36 billion more than the $732 billion in the discretionary spending in the national defense authorized last year's NDAA, which included $69 billion to fund so-called overseas contingency operations and the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan. One would think that having precipitously ended contingency operations, America's 20-year misadventure in the country would have been some sort of peace dividend that reflected the fact that U.S. no longer underwriting the cost of waging war on faraway land. But this would be wishful thinking. The Pentagon seems it cannot be satisfied with the end of a forever war that the American people, thousands of dead, tens of thousands of wounded, and trillions of dollars wasted, national treasure, not to mention the loss of national prestige that comes with having the world's sole remaining power bested on lightly armed tribesmen. No, having squandered American sources in Afghanistan, the Pentagon has now turned its sights to the Pacific, where it seeks to square off against China as part of the U.S. desperate attempt to retain relevancy, and it has enjoyed the region since the end of the Second World War. Guys, the way that China and Putin are teaming up, this is nothing but a flash. This is nothing but a flash mob. This is nothing. Like the way that they have absolutely neutralized our military is scary. It's scary. They're doing nothing but show dances. And I can even, you know, maybe even, and this is nothing that I can attest to be true or factual or concrete, but maybe even laundering some of embezzling, laundering some of that money. You know, they always say that they're giving millions and millions of dollars and grants and stuff like that, but it's like, where's the cheese? Where's the cake? All right. Let's switch gears to the Daily TrafficK, where I bring you the latest in human and sex trafficking news. Thai police, this is coming from Khmer Times. Yes. Thai police have rescued a total of 361 human trafficking victims from Cambodia this far this year. The Thai police have said that since January till the end of November, 361 suspected human trafficking victims have been brought back to Cambodia this year. National Police Chief Pol General Suwat Jangyod-suk was quoted by Thai media as stating that several suspects, both Thais and foreigners, have been arrested during the various rescue operations and await prosecution in Thai courts. In November of this year, one of the biggest Thai rescue and reparation efforts, more than 300 Thai nationals were rescued from allegedly slave work conditions in the Phnom Penh, along with and Phnom Penh seems to be like a city or district. Along with the arrest of 9 Thai nationals and 20 Chinese nationals. Some of the suspects await prosecution in Cambodian courts. Police Chief General Suwat pointed out that police will help all human trafficking victims regardless of whether they enter the destination countries legally or not. And that ought to be, actually, you know what? I spoke to a really good resource today on the phone, and this was just kind of like a side conversation we were having, but we were actually talking about this, not this, but, you know, the act of preserving the safety of trafficked victims. And sometimes what happens is, you know, it's good that they try to help them find their way back into their country, or they're helping them. It's for the safety and integrity of a victim coming out of trafficking. So sometimes a trafficker will, you know, drag them into a country, as it is happening in the United States every single day, you know, southern border. But, you know, but also we want to do, and again, we don't have the resources for this. And I know that this is like a wish list, and this is more so, this is wishful thinking, but the correct way to go about it is to not allow these victims to go back to maybe the cartels or the traffickers that have trafficked them in. And so they ensure, in a wonderful world, they would ensure that these victims from foreign lands would go back to their country in a safe manner. So that is important. Sometimes in the United States, especially nowadays, that is not happening. That is not happening. You know, even Axios reported that at least 40%, I would even argue at least 50% of the children coming into this country cannot be contacted anymore. So we have a huge problem still ongoing on our hands. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's going to talk about it, but it's actually happening on hand every single day. And it's sad, but this is what's going on. And but anyway, chiming back into Cambodia. So Cambodia is actually, let me see if I see any children in this photo, but Cambodia is actually one of the meccas for child sex trafficking. And it's actually known to be one of the tourist destination places. So there's this thing called sex tourism. So what sex tourism is in the world of trafficking is when there are destinations like this in Cambodia or in Thailand, for instance. Those are some really big places. So is the Philippines. The Philippines is really, really bad. But what happens is they make environments easily for these people to get trafficked in, for children to get trafficked in. And what happens is, I'll get to this piece later, but what happens in sex tourism is people from other countries, mostly Western countries, the United States, the UK, Canada, you know, they'll travel to these places just to abuse the victims. You know what I mean? So, and the thing about these countries too, especially if they're impoverished, like, you know, the Philippines, Cambodia, anybody like that, what happens is that, you know, if they grow up impoverished and these families need like groceries or, you know, basic needs, they end up resorting to grooming their children within their family to get into that life. Oh, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to allow this person to touch you. Da, 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 da. They groom them into this life. And then it makes it that much easier for them to sell them off. It's very sad. Very, very sad. But that's what happens. All right. Pivoting on to Arise News, Arise.tv, NDLEA smashes human trafficking syndicate, frees 34 kids trafficked from 𝘱𝘂𝘬𝘪𝘳𝘐 to Jos. And this is, I believe in the continent of Africa. So let me, I don't know, I've never heard of these places before. Sorry. Operatives in the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have smashed a human trafficking syndicate and intercepted 34 children between the ages of, get the ages, 8 and 14. So 34 children, age ranges 8 years old to 14 years old, being trafficked from 𝘱𝘰𝘵𝘮𝘢𝘪 to Abuja en route to Jos. Also intercepted by the NDLEA are 64,000 pump-action gun cartridges and a new pump-action gun at a store located at Success Line, Marine Modern Market, Onitsha, Aka North government area of Anambra State. Wow, I'm sorry that I am butchering these names of these cities and states. A statement on Friday by the spokesman of the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, said that operatives on patrol, along with Okini-Lokoja Expressway in Kogi State, intercepted 34 children being from the ages 8 to 14 trafficked from the cities that I named. He said that the minors were packed into 2 commercial buses, Toyota Sienna, a 12-seater Mazda, and registration numbers Lagos LND124FV and Oyo BDJ. Sorry that I'm butchering this so much tonight, guys. BDJ683YK, respectively, were recovered in early hours of last Thursday and human trafficking from the human trafficking syndicate. According to Babafemi, the Streimers confirmed that the kids were handed over to them by a woman at 𝘱𝘰𝘵𝘮𝘢𝘪 to be conveyed to Abuja, adding that the arrival to the FCT, the woman is to call another bus driver who will convey the children to Riyom in a Plateau state. So I actually reported on this story last week, and we just learned high-level details that the children were actually saved and rescued from this trafficking syndicate. These are the concrete details. This is how they were trafficking these children. So it seems to be like one madame was in charge of orchestrating the transportation. She would call a bus and then call another bus, and they would then relay the children, relay the children over to another bus. It was initially revealed that the children are initially trafficked to the Plateau state of Odi, where they were distributed to different households at domestic servants. Some of the children were discovered to have served for 2 years in the rewards sent to a woman's agents in Jos. On the interception of the arm of ammunition, Babafemi said the discovery, which led to the arrest of the arms dealer, 34-year-old Donatus Iwiburu, followed credible intelligence on drugs and arms deal in the location. He said, backed by soldiers, NDLEA operatives stormed the store last Wednesday and moved the arm and ammunition to the agency's office in Akka. Meanwhile, the chairman and chief executive of NDLEA, Brig General Baba Marwa, has commending officers and men of the Anambra and Kogi states, commands of the agency of their vigilance and their preparedness to work in synergy with other security agencies in their areas of responsibility, urging them to sustain the tempo. He also directed the arm and ammunition, along with the suspect arrested in Anambra, be transferred to the police, while the 34 trafficked children be transferred to the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons for further investigation. That was hard to read. I apologize, guys. Those names of the cities and the states. But that's how it happens. And that's why we go through these stories, because we've got to excavate absolutely every single piece of information we can get to see how these national trafficking organizations and syndicates work. And it does happen like that, where I'm sorry. And that does happen that way, where there are a lot of madams that look like they're very trustworthy. They gain the trust of these children. They seem very maternal, but that's how they get sucked into, that type of life. All right, going on to Luden. I think it's Luden. Luden deputy. Let's see, you guys remember Loudoun County, right? Like Luden, the whole, thing. Well, Luden deputy charged with soliciting a minor. So we heard about Luden, a couple months ago. There was like a big thing about a high schooler who claimed to be trans, went into the girl's bathroom, assaulted a girl, and all these things. And then there was like a lot of backlash and a lot of, back and forth stories about people actually coming to the defense of that guy who made the assault on the student. Well, this is the same county. Virginia. An investigation, Loudoun deputy charged with soliciting a minor online. And this is coming from Loudoun now. Loudoun, I think it's Loudoun. Sorry. An investigation by two law enforcement task forces resulted Friday in the arrest of Loudoun County Sheriff's Office deputy who faces 2 felony charges of soliciting a minor online. Dustin Amos, 33 of Herndon, was an 8-year Sheriff's Office employee who has worked in the adult detention center since he was hired in 2013. Agency spokeswoman Michelle Bowman said that Amos has been placed in administrative leave pending the further investigation and agency procedures. According to the state police, the investigation it began on December 16th, which is only 4 days ago, when the undercover detective assigned to the Minnesota Human Trafficking Investigators Task Force came into contact with the Amos online in his communications. Amos identified himself as a sheriff's office employee, according to the report. The Minnesota Task Force reported the case to the Nova DC Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force on December 17th. An investigation by Virginia State Police led to Amos being located and taken into custody without incident later that day. Amos was held without bond pending a hearing scheduled Tuesday in Loudoun County District Court. So sad, but that just goes to show we go for everybody here on the Daily TrafficK. Okay, if you're a cop trafficking kids, if you are a soccer mom, if you are a teacher, if you are this and that, we absolutely will report on everything, because what does this illustrate? It doesn't matter what political spectrum you're on. It doesn't matter who has a noble position or what. Everybody is implicated in this. Every single industry, every single position, every single politician, you know, I'm not every single politician. I retract that. That was wrong for me to say. I'm saying that all politicians are not off the cuff, right? Just because they're a politician doesn't mean that they don't do these types of things. I'm saying that these noble positions, I've seen everyone from Army officers to Navy to police officers, a deputy now, principal, VP of Sony. I mean, there's just so many sick people on different spectrums, you know? So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the news today. Loudoun. Francis says Loudoun. Sorry, I'll try harder next time if there's another Loudoun story. Guys, you guys have a great day. I'll catch you tomorrow in some more news, more headlines, and more trafficking news. You guys have a wonderful sleep or day if you're listening to me in the morning. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natly Denise. Please give this podcast 5 stars.